All right, we're going to go over a few things. It's been 2 weeks since we've last done one of these recordings, and thank you everybody for the patience this past week. And I got all sorts of notes. I guess that's um, one of the benefits of having nothing to do but sitting at home with the damn Rona. But I'm going to run through. We're going to kind of push the reset button, and we're going to get back to looking at looking at what our unit size is. We're going to look at how we handle 2 weeks ago when a losing week, and then this past week. Um, I want to talk about some live action stuff. I got a couple different things that I'm breaking down as far as what I'm going to be looking for in game selection in the weeks coming up, specifically in college. And then I got a list of some games where I think that some teams are just in odd spots, and they're not necessarily picks that I'm going to be posting. Some of them are, but it's games to consider. So let's talk about last week a little bit. One of the thoughts I had, I'm sitting at home and I'm watching games, and this was Sunday, really, but Saturday kind of as well. Saturday was a huge week, and I'm watching Sunday, and there's a lot of good chat going on back and forth, and everybody's really involved, and it's really cool. This is a fun group. I'm certainly having a lot of fun, and I hope everybody else is too. We're all involved in talking trash and looking at games. But the one thing I wanted to ask everybody is, we look at last week, and we can go back to Thursday. We go back to Thursday night where we had Jacksonville. I normally don't put up Thursday picks, but I did. Jacksonville came out and cover the spread on a Thursday night NFL. We also had I called out over 0.5 on the first quarter, and then in the very same night, there was the Maryland and Iowa game. We had 3 winners there, so we had a 5-0 Thursday night, and then we went into Friday where we had Houston. Houston was an outright dog winner. And then there was a handful of other plays that won outright within that game. So realistically, Thursday and Friday set us up with 10 winners, and it could have been 10-0 for some of you. It could have been 10-2, but there were 10 winners on Thursday and Friday night. Now we go into Saturday. Saturday, our baseline plays are 7-1. So at this point, there's 17 winners on the books. I'm looking at all the chatter that we have going on back and forth, and I have to ask on Sunday. We come into Sunday, and Sunday wasn't our greatest performance, but I had said we're cashing out. I'm planning on cashing out on Saturday, and Sunday is going to be half unit plays. We go into Sunday. The picks came in 3-2, so that's still a winning week. So on a week where we walked into Sunday with 17 winners and minimal losers. The only losers were live plays, but there was only one baseline loser. So baselines of 17-1, or including the Thursday and Friday. I got to ask everybody, or you need to ask yourself, how much of that 17-1 got cashed out and actually went to the bank, and actually did you pay yourself with? And you don't owe me the answer. We all owe ourselves that answer. And then how much of that on Sunday did you give back to live plays that weren't planned for, to odd double up units, just to odd reckless gambling? I'm not calling anybody out specifically. I'm saying it's very important to recognize the kind of performance we had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then what did we actually do with it on Sunday? How many of you actually took the cash out on Saturday? And then what did Sunday actually look like? So I bring that up, and I'll be the bad guy. I'll be the bad guy by bringing it up. That's fine with me. But again, my goal here is to make sure that everybody's paying themselves and actually winning money and getting paid off of these winners. My goal is not to be the guy that has great picks. I'm going to give you winners. You guys know that. But when we're 17-1 or 17-0 or 17 winners going into a Sunday, I felt like there was a lot of activity on Sunday in the chat about, in-game plays and live action and halftime and quarter one plays. I want to explain, the live action thing. And I realize I'm not talking to children, so I apologize. But when you look at live action, I'm using live action for opportunity, something egregious, something odd that comes up, a total mismatch. And I'm also using live action to either get myself out of trouble or to get more money into a game on on some form of a dip. But I don't go into every single game looking for 5, 10, 20, multiple bets. So just take a look at how you did on those days, and are you happy with what you actually cashed out? If the answer is no, then we have a different plan for this week coming up. If the answer is yes, you are happy, then you've achieved your goals for the weekend, and congratulations, and you're getting what you wanted to out of this sports weekend. And that's kind of where I'll leave it. I'm going to talk a little bit about where we go from here. This past week would have been from where we began. I think we started at $10 unit. We would have been at $17.35. Now, 2 weeks ago on a losing week, you could have handled that one of two ways. You could have one, reduced your unit size, so come off of the $17.35, or you could have made a deposit because, again, baselines were losers. You would have had to find live action or some out of the box stuff in order to break yourself even for the week. Or you could have made a deposit to maintain the $17.35. That's going into last weekend, coming off of the losing week. And that's your call. When something like that comes up, you got to decide what you're more comfortable with. Am I more comfortable with putting another $100 into the account? I've cashed out 3 or 4 times. I'm still a winner. Am I more comfortable putting that $100 in and maintaining the $17.35 unit? Or am I more comfortable making my unit $16.25 or $15 even, and not putting more money in? That's totally your call. It just has to protect your mindset of the whole deal. In my scenario, I was completely more comfortable making another deposit because you catch the deposit bonus with crypto, and I was completely more comfortable doing that and not moving backwards. And I knew going into last weekend I was going to pull the money out on Saturdays. So that being said, we lost nothing. The cash out was huge this past weekend, and now we're looking at, from that $17.35, we're up to $22, and I think it was like 40 cents. Call it $22.40. So that's our unit right now, and this is we're 5 weeks in. So it's a very good place to be. And that's what we're looking at. And this week, I'm reducing the amount of Saturday college plays, and Sunday we're probably only going to have 5 plays again. Sunday I'm going to stick with the 5 circuit plays, and Saturday this past week I think was 8 plays. We're going to reduce those. I don't know. I'm deciding between a few, but when they get posted, you'll see. But I want to raise the impact of a winner after a week like this. I want to make more money off of winners. Especially on a week like this where we've upped it, and this will actually build the bankroll a little bit better. It will have less outlay with these games. So, couple teams in odd places. I'm going to go there. Does anybody have anything? I'm kind of babbling a little bit, and I'm sorry. All right, let's go to some games that I'm looking at. Actually, I'm gonna talk about some of these picks, some of these teams that I'm looking at, and how I'm coming to decisions on some of these, at least as of right now. So I'm going to go to the Big Ten first. When you look at the Big Ten, and I did this last year with the NFL, and we found success this way. I went 2 years ago into the Big Ten because last year they had a shortened season, but 2 years ago there were 3 teams with 10 wins in the Big Ten, 3 teams. So when you look at the Big Ten right now, let's see. If you go into the Big Ten right now, there's 5 teams that have lost 1 or none. So when you look at the Wolverines, you look at the Spartans, you look at Ohio State, you look at Maryland, you look at Iowa State, you look at Penn State. Those are the 6 top teams in the Big Ten. One of them plays in its own division. The rest of them play in the same division. So when I look at that, we're going to have 2 to 4 of those teams are going to have 10 wins. In order to get 13 wins, they have to go to a conference championship game. So you look at Ohio State, they already got a loss. You look at Maryland, they already got a loss, right? So Ohio State, they're probably going to stay where they're at. They might lose 1 more. That's 10 wins. when you look at the Spartans and the Wolverines, they probably have 1 to 2 losses each. And then you look at Iowa and Penn State. I believe one of those teams is going to go undefeated, but it's almost impossible. So if we're looking at them as just 10 wins, that means they have losses coming when they're 4-0 and 5-0 already. So where do those losses come? Well, I think Ohio State plays Maryland this week, so there's a loss coming. Penn State plays Iowa this week. There's a loss coming. And then I'm looking at the teams. So those teams at this point, they're going to lose half of the games that they're playing. They're going to lose 30% of the games that they're playing. But then I look at the teams that are probably going to finish 500 or like 7-5. And the 3 teams that jump off the page, and this is the more important part, the 3 teams that jump off the page are Illinois, Northwestern, and Wisconsin. So Illinois is 2-4. Northwestern is 2-3, and Wisconsin is 1-3 right now. So when you take those 3 teams, those are the teams that are going to cause the disruptions. And actually, my apologies. Illinois is going to come out of this weekend. Yeah, I was right. I was right about what I just called out. Wisconsin's going to come out of this weekend either 2-3 or 1-4, and Illinois is right around the same. So Illinois, Northwestern, Wisconsin, those are the teams that are going to cause disruptions. Well, Wisconsin, Illinois play against each other this week. I'll just tell you right now, I'm taking Illinois at home +10. That's going to be a pick. If it goes up to 10.5, I like it even more. Illinois's got a chance to win the game outright. But going forward, looking at the weeks coming up, Illinois, Wisconsin, Northwestern, those are the disruptor teams. So if you find any combination of those teams going up against these big 5 teams that have losses coming, so Northwestern, playing Ohio State, Penn State playing against Wisconsin. Well, they did that already, but Penn State playing against Maryland, or any combination of those 3 teams playing against those teams that have losses coming. I'm looking to take points in the weeks coming up. So if you see those posts before I post picks, they're certainly worth looking at. And then when I'm looking at the SEC, I'm kind of looking at the same thing. The teams in the SEC that I see as 10-win teams right now might be a surprise. Georgia and Bama are no surprise. And then typically the SEC has one more. And at this point, I'm calling for Auburn to be that team, or at least right now, Auburn's 4-1. Arkansas is 4-1. Kentucky's 5-0. Florida's 3-2. And Tennessee is 3-2. So I'm looking at the Florida, Tennessee, Arkansas, Kentucky. I'm looking at those teams as the 8 or 9 win teams. So when you look at Kentucky, for example, they're 5-0. So they got 4 losses coming. They might even have they have a minimum of 4 losses coming. So I'm looking at them as, who's going to beat them this weekend. That might be a good opportunity. Arkansas is losing this week. I mean, there's absolutely no way Arkansas is going to. I'm sorry. God, I'm all over the place. I'm thinking of somebody different, but Arkansas at 4-1. Florida's already 3-2, so Florida doesn't have that much more losing to do. Florida is they're going to either win 8 or they're going to win 9, so they got some winning to do. But I kind of put them into the 8 and the 9 win category. So when you look at the games coming up, and that's where I'm getting some of my thought process from for some of these games. You guys with me? All right.
Yep, still with you.
All right. Sorry. I'm trying to stay hydrated while I run through all this stuff. I know I'm jumping all over the place. It's hard to read my own notes. All right, let's look at some of these games. So I'm going to look at some of these teams that are in weird spots. Some of them might make the picks and some of them might not, but just going to run through the games. Cincinnati versus Temple. It's a 29-point spread. Cincinnati coming off of that huge game at Notre Dame that a lot of people didn't even see coming. We did, but a lot of people didn't. 29 points. Who's Cincinnati beaten by 29 points? I'm just throwing that out there. Auburn, when I first looked at this, Auburn 15.5 against Georgia, I thought that was a that was a spot where I didn't really like Georgia. But now looking at it, Georgia has not allowed a touchdown in 3 weeks. I mean, they actually haven't allowed a point. They've shut out the last 2 teams they've played, and they've only allowed 20 points this season in 5 games. So 15 and a half points, that one's not as weird anymore. But I think Syracuse going against 5-0 Wake Forest, getting 6 points at home, that's an interesting one. I already said it. There's no need to tiptoe around it. I love Illinois at home getting 10 points against Wisconsin. If we can get 10 and a half, it's even better. Wisconsin cannot score. Wisconsin just has no way of scoring. It's going to be a low scoring game. And Illinois, their head coach used to coach at Wisconsin. He didn't get fired. He left on his own will to go coach in the SEC. He thought that he was going to live the good life at Arkansas. But Brett Bielema is a Wisconsin guy. He was the last Wisconsin head coach to win the Big Ten. And then this one is crazy, and very rarely will you see me lay money on it. But I actually, in this spot this week, I think Oklahoma only laying 3.5 points.
Only laying 3.5 points
against Texas this week is a pretty interesting spot.
Texas this week is a pretty interesting spot.
Why am I echoing? There's some kind. No, sorry, I had some kind of odd delay. So Oklahoma is on my permanent don't touch list, but laying 3.5. There's a lot being talked about with them not putting up points, not being able to, and negativity about their quarterback, who's one of the best in the country. He's going to play on Sundays. Their defense looks really good, and now they're playing Texas. I can't think of a better position for them to be in to just hang a ton of points. 3.5 seems like a gift here, and the over/under for the game is in the 60s. And this game just feels like a track meet of a shootout. So those are the games that I think are very interesting. Not all of them are plays, but some of them are going to make the baseline plays, and some of them I'm just going to be watching on like a second or third screen for any type of opportunity to jump in on it, because I have a suspicion on which way it's going to go. I just don't feel good enough to lay it action up front before the game starts. And those were those games. Elliot asked me to get into Coastal Carolina and talk about that game a little bit. So Coastal plays tomorrow night. Everybody loves the Mullets. I do. They've done nothing but good by us. I don't like the 20 points with that game. So, and typically the way I played the Mullets this year, because they're laying such huge points. Last year we took a lot of points. We took 10. We took 7. Last year they didn't start laying points until deep into the season when the whole world had already discovered them. So the Mullets this year are very different. The way that I've been playing them, and we've been posting these live picks, is I've been playing them to cover team totals. And so the team total for the first half is 22.5. I think that's a pretty safe place to play them for the first half. Last week we laid 27.5 to go over in the first half, and we got that not even halfway through the second quarter. So I feel safer there. 20 points is just a lot of points to lay. Coastal can be trusted with those kind of points, but it's like we said a couple weeks ago when we were taking UNLV against Fresno State. If I asked you to name every team, just name every team that you're comfortable laying 20 points on. All right. Yes, this team will cover 20 for me. How far down the line do you have to go before you get to Coastal Carolina? I mean, we know them, and they made us a lot of money, but they made us money last year as dogs, not as 20-point favorites. It's a very different spot to be in, and teams are out to get them. So to answer Elliot's question, my play on Coastal Carolina tomorrow night is I'm going to be looking at them, and I'm going to be looking to get the first half over 22.5. I don't even care if they lose. I'm just looking for them to score over the 22.5 points, and I've approached them kind of the same way every single game. And the 20 points, they may cover it, but I don't want to get myself into that kind of jam with them. I prefer to take the first half, where they typically have scored 4 touchdowns in all but one game. And so that's the play for the Mullets tomorrow. I think that might be all that's in my notes. I got through my notes a lot quicker than I thought I would. What do you guys got for me? I see Jefecito joined us. What's going on, brother man?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up, Jefe?
Going on, boss man? How you feeling?
I've been better. I'm feeling a lot better, but it's man, this thing ain't no joke.
Oh yeah, man. I'm just glad that this weekend finally we can start betting on maybe my Giants, man. Maybe we can throw that into the mix. That might be nice.
You know, they've kept games close. They've kept games close.
Not close enough though.
No, I honestly thought that they were going to win that division this year. I did, but at this point, the Dallas Cowboys right now, currently, in my opinion, are the best team in football. I know you don't want to hear that, but I that division is always up for grabs. I thought the Giants were going to win it this year.
Good man. I'm just back here though. I just got home, man. I'm getting tapped back in now. I know we're doing the live right now, so I'm just fun.
Yeah. Well, good. Mohammed, you got anything? Surprised nobody asked about the Iowa and Penn State game.
That's an easy one, right? Penn State? No.
It's a odd one. It's a 2-point game, right? Iowa's got the better defense, but they can't really they just can't score points.
On Clifford is on the other side.
I know that, but again, it's Iowa's defense. It's Iowa's defense that I worry about. They've gotten interceptions in every single game, and that is a very difficult place to play football. So, Penn State went into Wisconsin week 1 and did what they did. So Penn State could play that kind of battle. I mean, and Penn State's getting points. So I'm just going to be a fan with the game because I could see it going either way. But like with Georgia last week, I said it. Georgia's either going to win and blow them out, and they're going to cover, or something bad is going to happen to Georgia, and Arkansas is going to end up winning the game outright. So there's no need. If you want Arkansas, there's no need to take them and take the points. This Penn State game, Iowa game, it could go either way. I don't know with Iowa's defense. Are they like Baby Tua threw 5 picks last week? Did he throw that many picks? Or was his defense just that good? And was that the case 2 weeks prior? And like I don't know if it's going to come down to, if it comes down to Iowa's offense having to make a play, well, then yes, Penn State. But if Penn State makes a dumb mistake in a very loud stadium, and that is the loudest 65,000 I've ever been a part of. That is an incredibly loud stadium. Like I thought it was louder than Arrowhead. And so, yeah, Penn State should win the game, but I could see it going either way. So for that game, I'm a fan. I'm probably not even touching it with live action. I think that game is going to be under. I think that it's going to be like, 17-14, 17-13 kind of game. And I think that's just what it's going to be. And Iowa really doesn't even need to win the game because they're playing against nobody. Iowa can lose a game and still go to the Big Ten championship game. All the talent is in that other division. The other division is both teams from the Mitten State. You got Penn State, you got Ohio State, and Maryland. All of those teams are in the other division. So, I do agree with you. It should be Penn State, but I don't think it's a safe place to put money. Not with some of the these games that I'm looking at this week. They just seem way too easy for us to mess with a game like Iowa and Penn State.
LSU is a safe bet. I mean, they're getting 3.5 against the overrated Kentucky.
LSU is going to get beat. Kentucky's going to beat LSU, and they're going to cover.
Okay.
I believe that. I don't think Kentucky's got momentum going right now, and that matters. But they're also playing very strong pass defense. And LSU can't run the ball. LSU, if they were able to run the ball, they would have closed out the game against Auburn this past week. So I was on LSU last week. I've been on them for a couple weeks now, but I don't think Kentucky's overrated. They're at home, and they're coming off a big win. I mean, they just learned this past week we can do this. They just went into the swamp and smoked them. I thought they were overrated going into Florida last week. They went into Florida and they handled their business. So, now this is a home game, and Yeah. That's where I leave that one. I'm not playing it, but I think Kentucky's going to win and cover. All right. If nobody's got anything else, I think we call it a night. Get some picks posted here shortly. We got CFL on TV, 9-point underdog winning outright right now.
Hey, brother, I'm sorry, I might have missed it, but did you talk about anything baseball wise?
No, I'm not the baseball guy.
You're gonna. Oh, okay. I was gonna say these playoffs is gonna look. Playoffs
It's
are looking juicy.
Well, for baseball, tomorrow night, Sports Betting Weekly, John from GMF Sports, I'm telling you, this guy's got a crystal ball. He's the only person on the planet where if he tells me this is the play, I don't even question it when it comes to baseball. I just do it. And I mean, he just knows this stuff. And so if you watch the repeat or the live show tomorrow, he's the guy. I'm the strategy bankroll management guy, and I can pick the football games too. But baseball, I just watch, and I don't know anything about it. It's fun, but that's about it for me with baseball. All right, everybody, have a good week, and message me if you need. I'll be in front. I'll be in front of all the screens the entire weekend, trying to kick this Rona.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.
Thanks, brother. Have a good night.
You too.